Recently, somebody commented on one of my videos asking about excoriation and borderline personality disorder. Specifically, they had mentioned that they suffer from this condition and they wanted to know more about, the comorbidity of the two conditions together. So, firstly, I could tell you that it's extremely common amongst BPD people. For those who don't know what excoriation disorder is, it's typically defined as a disorder where you pick at your skin as, a nervous habit, if you will. Now, one might call it a nervous habit on the surface, but in reality, it's another form of self-harm, which is even more common amongst BPD people. The self-harm characteristic or symptom can manifest in a lot of different ways. For some people, it manifests in a simple form of addiction, being addicted to a substance or something that causes harm to oneself on a regular basis. For other people, it can manifest as beating themselves in the face or, hurting themselves in some way, cutting, any sort of parasuicidal behavior, burning themselves with cigarettes. That's a very, very common one. Anything like that. So, for somebody who's experiencing both borderline personality disorder and excoriation, obviously excoriation is a little bit more serious than many of the symptoms that come with BPD. Therefore, it's typically treated first. If you suffer from this condition or any of the self-harm facets of BPD, it's almost always certain that you should focus on this symptom first. That goes for all of them. I mean, you can't be hurting yourself and then also expect yourself to be able to heal from the BPD. Now, with that said, I do realize that the self-harm characteristics of this come as a side effect, if you will, to the many other symptoms. I myself have experienced stuff like this, so I am accustomed to this type of behavior, and I do understand it. The problem is, other people don't understand it. They don't get it, and they see it as, extremely off-the-wall kind of crazy stuff. And that's why we feel misunderstood a lot of the times. So that's kind of like a general synopsis of the situation when it comes to these two conditions. The best way to get ahead of this is to remind yourself that any type of self-harm behavior is considered primitive. Not just from a psychological perspective, but from a human perspective. And I'm not saying you're primitive. I'm saying that this is a primitive characteristic, a primitive response to your stress levels. And trying to explain your pain in this way will never really get the message across right. And that at least helped me a lot in terms of getting ahead of it, and I hope it helps somebody else.